It's not true. It's BS. They lie. They made it up. I'm not Wacko Jacko. Hello guys, join me today as I interview the man, the myth, the moonwalker, Michael Jackson, the second famous person on this earth after Jesus Christ himself. Okay, so should I sit down? I mean, a lot of people say I faked my death, I don't think that's really true. I think people should really do that little research before they start blaming people on certain things, And I really like to be here, on the Hillary-ous channel. You guys are really sweet people, those kids I used to share beds with.
Michael Jackson, a name that transcends music, fame, and let's face it, normal human behavior. This isn't just the story about a man who changed the world of music. This is the story about a man who made the entire planet question what he was gonna shapeshift into next. Our story begins in Gary, Indiana, where 5 kids armed with talent and matching afros set out to change the world. Leading the pack, a pimp-sized Michael Jackson who could sing like an angel and dance as if he had kids in his pants.
And everybody calls me a bad person for that, for sharing a bed with kids. I heard P. got arrested. That's a horrible, horrible man. He's just as bad as Tommy Mottola. And I'm really excited to be here and tell you my story, I really want to go back to, the days when me and my brothers were together, I grew up in Gary, Indiana, and my father had I wouldn't say a decent job, but we were a family of, 5 at some point, and then they just kept having children and children, and that's when Janet and Latoya came by, Yeah, I'm really proud to have them as my siblings because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them,
Mr. Jackson, how difficult must it have been to be the lead singer of the Jackson 5?
That really gives me an emotional, it gives me a really emotional feeling, just remembering that I was a pin-sized boy, I'm in Gary, Indiana, my father, he was a really horrible man. He was a really, really mean man. I hate him. I hate him to the moon and back because he made me do things and I really didn't want to do them, But I'm going to keep my composure today because today is not about him. It's about my legacy. So I started off with, the Jackson 5 and I was the lead singer. A lot of people said that I sound like an angel, and it was a really, really nice compliment. But at the time, I really didn't understand the dynamics that came with being, the world's biggest child pop star, I'm just happy that, Dan Schneider wasn't there yet, It's just a little naughty jokes that I came up with, Do you mind if I stand up and walk around, It really helps with my anxiety, Yeah, just getting up, Woo! I'm really getting old now, my skin is reverting back to, black, It's called vitiligo, that's what the doctors say, But yeah, I'm really getting old now, and where were we again? I was explaining to you my childhood and my experiences in being a child, I never really had the opportunity to be a normal child and hang out with normal children, people make fun of my appearance all the time, say I have a fake nose. They say that I lasered my little beards in. It's not true. It's not true. It's BS. They lie. They made it up. It's not true. It's really, really not true. It hurts my feelings. I'm a human being too. I'm not Wacko Jacko.
In 1979, Michael decided to go solo. The result? Off the Wall, an album that proved that disco music wasn't dead. It was just waiting for Michael to come and resurrect it. With hits like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You. On August 10, 1979, you decided to go off the wall with Epic Records. Can you tell us how it felt disbanding with your family members and going solo?
Well, yes, that's an interesting take. Because with Off the Wall, I just wanted to prove to the world that I'm not just a teensy tiny boy from a little boy band. So with Off the Wall, I was just trying to show that the disco culture isn't dead. I just feel honored, especially by my label. Motown Records was at its peak at the time. I racked them in millions of US dollars. That was the first album where people really got to see the true Michael Jackson. Look at the nature. Look, it's beautiful. It reminds me of my home, Evelyn Raj. It really does remind me of
Mr. Jackson.
Oh, sorry. You were saying?
If you weren't singing, you were dancing. Can you let us in on how that worked and how you came up with your signature dance
Well, yeah,
moves?
I really was quite the dancer, you know. Obviously, you know, if I try any of these moves today, you know, I might lose a couple of bones or two, you know. Yeah, let me show you one of the moves. Oh, Simone, the golden. Oh, my leg. Oh, my leg.
You
My
okay,
leg.
Mr. Jackson?
Oh, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You know, my head did turn a little bit upside down there. You know, it's one of those plastic surgery things. You know, one of those malfunctions. You know. So what I was saying about the Moonwalking is that it's one of my most popular dancers. You know, one of my most popular dance things. And you know, the media loves to say that it's from some random guy from South Africa. You know, that I stole the move from someone else. But I would never steal from anyone else. You know, like I was raised better than that. About me. You know, I really love dancing. You know, it took me hours and hours. I even broke my nose. People don't feel sorry about that. They just lie. They just say that I got it artificially done. I got rhinoplasty.
But then came Thriller, an album that sold more copies than there are people in Canada. It had it all: zombies, Vincent Prince, and a red jacket that would haunt your local thrift store forever. To follow that up, you released an album that needs no introduction, Thriller. Can you let us in on that?
Okay, that's a very interesting take. You know, it's valid. I've really had to inhabit, you know, my theatrical side, you know, with Thriller because I really love the prosthetics and the whole aesthetic of it. You know, I think I really had to inhabit the true Halloween spirit. You know, it wasn't always about the money. It's not about the money, as you can tell from like my appearance even. Like you can tell that I really love makeup and you know the things that come with it. I feel like I can really tell a story. You know, it's more than just the music. It's more than just the poetry. Yeah, I really worked hard on this album, so I think it deserves every last cent. And I heard that sometimes it's still on the Billboard 200. Is that true? I'm not really sure. I need to check with my manager. Yeah, rest in peace, Quincy Jones. And he was a really great guy. Like he was instrumental in making Thriller. You know, most of the songs, especially Thriller itself, and Beat It, and you know, like those songs I really love them. They have a really special place in my heart.
By the late 80s, Michael wasn't just a pop star, he was a myth. He had a theme park for a house, a pet chimpanzee named Bubbles, and moves that were out of this world that would make you question whether he signed a deal with the devil or SpaceX.
Sorry. Obviously I'm a little too excited. We did run into the science of it. You know, I can't believe I'm in a Michael Jackson documentary. But we did run into the inquisitors and the possibilities of sending Michael Jackson, you know, to the moon. You know, yeah, we're really excited here as the Tesla team, and we will be putting in some inquisitors and some delegations to make that possible. But obviously, you know, the man is dead. You know, rest in peace. You know, I was working on the technology. Maybe we can bring him back to life. You know, like we can bring him as a lizard. You know, just like Mark Zuckerberg. you know what I mean.
You know, this is a really beautiful string set. You know, well, unfortunately, my father really stripped me of my childhood. You know, otherwise I'd be playing with other kids, and then I'd develop normally, like a normal human being. I'm waffling now. You can ask me the next question.
August 31, 1987, you would prove to us that you're the man and you're bad. Can you let us in on that experience?
Bad was it's actually one of my iconic albums. You know, I had to really embody that, you know, that bad feeling. You know, I really had to tell the world like that I'm the man. You know, like I really like tried. You know, like because I have like a baby angelic voice, so I really like tried sounding, you know, as bad as possible, but I just ended up sounding like, you know, Mickey Mouse on Ozempic, you know. I remember like first laying out, you know, the first few lyrics of the song, you know, Bad, you know. Like, I can even remember some of the lyrics and some of the choreography, you know. I remember that Bad costume is actually one of the most iconic costumes I've ever had. You know, Dangerous was really like one of those albums where like I really started blossoming from, you know, being like a, you know, the Thriller Bad type guy into like a whole new like different sound, and I was getting into that rock feeling. You know, I was really getting into it. You know, like if you really listen to the songs carefully, you can tell that there's a whole different string section from Bad and then Thriller, and you know, like yeah, it was a really wonderful experience. You know, to do Dangerous. It was one of my biggest tours ever, arguably even bigger than Thriller. You know, it was the biggest. You know, I remember my live in Bucharest. and then I sped off in a jetpack, at the end of the event. Oh, how can I forget, and Pepsi sponsored that entire album, that Pepsi actually sponsored my tour for that time, and even though they burnt my hair, this is actually just a wig, it's actually just a wig, it's not really my real hair, you know. Yeah, but Dangerous, I really, really love that album. It really takes me back to the summer of '92. Just a beautiful album. It's just well done, and I really have nothing much to say on it. I just feel infatuated. Just thinking about the album.
Of course, being MJ wasn't all moonwalks and Grammys. There were scandals, lawsuits. Well, let's just say there were a lot of WTF moments. Mr. Jackson, it's no secret that you released a flurry of albums after Dangerous, and can you tell us about the allegations?
Well, I can't really get into all the albums now, like my time is it's almost running up, I can't be in the sun for too long, my skin is very sensitive. As I told you, it's literally going back to black, I really I really worked on my skin. Anyways, I can't really speak on everything because most of those albums that came after, from Blood and the Dance Floor to History to Invincible, they came out during a time where I was being harassed by the media. I was being harassed by the government. I was being harassed by the police who were supposed to protect me. And as a black man, in the face of such controversy, it's really shameful. It's really bad. It just crushes my spirit. It crushes my soul. Even as a good guy, it's just very ignorant. It's just, I can just boil it down to saying, it's BS. They lie.
This dude was so influential to the point where Donald Trump's wife wore his hat to the inauguration.
She was more like a baby queen of 43. I'm a bean. I never. Who knows? Come on, guys. Who'd you sing with me? I think he's an amazing artist. He's done a lot for people. He's done a lot for people. I think he's an amazing artist. Amazing. Even if he was an illegal immigrant, I feel like I would just let him roam scot-free. Because you know what? He's Michael Jackson. He's one of the biggest pop stars in the world. I feel like I'd make him in charge with our arts and culture department.
But just when you thought MJ was done, he'd remind the world why he was called the King of Pop. Like in 1995 when he released History and turned a concert into what looked like a United Nations summit. Michael's passing in 2009 marked the end of an era, but his influence? That's eternal. From pop stars mimicking his dance moves to random dudes at weddings attempting the moonwalks after one too many drinks, Michael's impact was everywhere. Michael wasn't just the king of pop, he was a global phenomenon and a moonwalking enigma. Love him, question him, or try to copy his moves at your own risk. But one thing's for sure, there will never be another Michael Jackson.
I can just boil it down to saying, it's BS. They lie, they make a lot of things up. It's BS. It's uncalled for. It's just not part of my branding. I love kids. I just want to end off this interview by saying that people can say whatever they want to say. Like, your dreams, you are important, you are a human being. I don't care what your father says. I don't care what your mother says. I don't care what your brother says. You are a human being. You know that. You should really, really chase your dreams, no matter what anybody else says. Well, thanks for having me, you guys. You guys are really sweet. This channel, what it's done for me. I finally got my voice out here. I have a movie coming out later this year. But until then, you're not gonna hear from me. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. You guys are such angels. I really should moonwalk out of here. Yeah.
Well, you heard it from the man himself, the man, the myth, and the moonwalker, Michael Jackson, here with us today. And it was a really, really, really beautiful, experience, to be able to interview a man of that stature, He's gonna make his way back to the tomb now, and then the rest of us are just gonna, meet in the comment section where you're gonna tell me what you want to see next, live on the Saint Hillary-ous network. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, please subscribe. If you want to see more of Michael Jackson, well, you're gonna need to visit his grave. Thank you.